We're here in Washington, D.C. with Dr. Brenda Salter McNeil.
It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Who will be speaking at the next Remix Conference in March 2009. And we're very excited to have you with us. I've heard a lot of people talking about racial reconciliation the past couple of years, and there's people on one side saying that, oh, well, racial reconciliation is a thing of the past and that stuff doesn't exist anymore. And I know there's a lot of youth and college students that are going to be coming to Remix that are kind of in the hearing both sides of this. And no, it's very much still alive. And I've grown up a minority myself in this country, and of the opinion that no, it still exists and definitely exists on both sides of the line. And what can you say to this?
Great question. I would say the both sides has become all sides. Globalization has changed everything. And so it's no longer a black-white issue.
Right.
It's become a global issue. So all of us have to become interculturally competent. That at this point, you can't graduate from college in any major, you name the major, and not have some idea about how to interact with the changing world.
Right.
And if we can't be relevant in a world where we're working and we're interacting with people, if we can't make our faith relevant in those kinds of situations, in some way we've graduated college students who are supposed to be people who can lead and guide, and at this point even corporate America doesn't want us. They want people who have bilingual skills, interculturally competent skills. They're looking for folks who are also ethical, so being Christian is a good thing because there's so much crime and corruption that finding a person who won't steal from the company is like a good thing, you know? So they want that, but they also want folks who are ethical, moral, and competent interculturally. And at this point, even McDonald's is looking for folks who can, do that well. And if we don't understand that, I think that we get degrees for nothing, because right now in the 21st century, globalization is the name of the game, and everybody has got to think about how to be interculturally competent. So when I go to a black church, I speak Spanish, and they look at me like, what is she doing? So I said, yo aprendiendo a hablar español, and they think, what? And I'm trying to say this is no longer about white people getting black people, you know what I mean? Or people saying we don't want immigration. The truth is the world is flat, and at this point everybody has got to learn how to interact differently, because that's what relevancy is going to require of us.
Backing up just a little bit, when did you first begin to feel passionate about this issue?
I went to Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California, and I had to do an internship. They won't let you ruin people's lives until you practice, you know? Right. So they said, okay, you got to do an internship. I wasn't called to be a pastor. I knew that at that time, and I knew, though, that I was called to ministry. So someone said, you should do my internship. And I said, well, what are you doing? And she said, I'm the chaplain's assistant at Occidental College. So I went, well, I became a Christian in college. Maybe I could go do something like at college. And so I went to Occidental College, and when I got there, I found this reality. I found a chaplain's department and an intervarsity group that had about 200 strong. People studying scripture, participating in small groups. It was fabulous. But only 2 of those people out of 200 were people of color.
Wow.
One Hispanic brother and one African American guy who was dating a white woman in the fellowship. And I just got bugged by it, you know? And I just wondered why. I knew I had become a Christian at Rutgers University, and I knew that there had to be other students just like me on this campus who was somewhere in their dorm room, praying, going to church on Sunday, catching a ride. And I wondered, where are they? And why won't they come to this? That question was the question that led to passion. And one step led to another, and that's how I became a person who now champions the ministry of racial reconciliation.
I'm guessing that a lot of people are in similar situations. Whatever is going on, there's always a majority. How can we begin to change that? How can we begin? What was your thought process in that moment as you walked into that room and thought, okay, this is where my heartbeat is, but how do you begin to address that? As one person, as a student who's going to be at this conference,
I think it begins, maybe the way it began for me, and I don't take credit for this, it was almost like it felt like a piece of the puzzle was missing. You know, for those of us who mess around with puzzles, you could have everything just so and in place, and if you can't find like one or two pieces, as soon as you look at it, your eye rivets on that one place that's empty. I think there's got to be something in us that recognizes something's missing. And somehow I'm impoverished without it. I think as long as we feel like we're getting along just fine, you know, without it, but then we'll keep going on as if this is perfect, church. I think it's only when we start wondering, could this be better if like Amir was a part of it? Like, would he bring a worldview that, you know, that we don't have? And how about, you know, Gabriella? If Gabriella was here, what would she say or do that might? I think on some level we've got to ask ourselves, is there something missing? And where are they? That was the only big question I started asking on that college campus. Where are they? I had to assume that they were there. I had to assume that they loved God as much as we loved God. And I had to assume that if we went and found them, that there might be some way, maybe not in this particular fellowship, but some way that we could find ways to be together. I think that what's happening politically in our country right now is really instructive to us with the various campaigns. What I'm hearing is a cry. People want unity. They don't know how to get it, but they want it. And if somebody can champion it and cast a vision for it, I'm finding people want to rally around that. And generally, they want to give themselves to something worth living for. You know, right now it's a political campaign for some folks. And maybe we could all agree we're not tied to our church structure or our set forms, but we could come together around a common cause and say, around this, we're going to dispense of all the things that divide us, and we're going to find a way to be family around this cause, around this vision, around this purpose and mission together. I think it's going to look something like that.